Somewhere, there is a pigeon that believes in you. Remember that.
In the quiet of the night where dreams take flight, voices whisper softly, shining like the stars so bright. Every heart has a story, don't you ever forget. Let's open our minds, share the journey, no regret. Here we gather, a circle of hope, sharing laughter and tears, we learn just how to cope. Every tale we tell, it helps to heal our souls. In the space of understanding, together we become whole. So let the words flow, let the music rise. In your head with Shannon, the stories come alive. Every heartbeat echoes where our spirits thrive. From fears to triumphs, we'll paint the skies anew. In this podcast journey, I'm here with
you. Welcome to In Your Head with Shannon Standiford. I am Shannon Standiford, and today we are talking to another fellow podcaster, Wild Willie Thornton, and he is also from the state of Missouri. We open up about what it's like, his childhood, going through a hell of a lot of abuse and so much other things that he's never even publicly talked about on his show. We talk about it here. So this is great. I like breaking new grounds. I also broke him. Got a little teary-eyed. Seems to be a pattern here, you know? Anyway, he is the host of the Soul Impact, How Music Saved Us podcast. We had it was great getting to connect with him. So I did his show. He did mine. At the end of the day, you know, it was just two guys having a conversation. I think you will enjoy it. We talk, you know, it got heavy. You're also going to notice that his daughter was present in the episode a lot. And I chose not to edit it. I chose to leave it in because I wanted everyone to see what it's like to be a single dad. You know, whenever you're a single dad and you're trying to do something, or even you're a dad and you're trying to do something, and you're often kind of interrupted by children. You know, they're loud. They're in a way they're unawarely selfish, and it's fine. And I wanted to showcase it. There were times that he had to mute his mic so he could talk to his child, and I tried to fill in the space. Sometimes I got a little lost. There's going to be a little dead air. I do apologize, but not really, because being a single dad is it's hard. And he's doing a great job, so let's just get into it. Little forewarning, though. You're going to cry. You're going to laugh. But one way or another, tears will roll down. You'll find out why. Let's get in Willie's head. Willie, thanks for coming on the show. I was recently just a guest, literally just a guest on your show, so we're doing a little swap here. So thanks for coming on and agreeing to sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. All right, so the show is always is about telling your story, and no better way to start off than what was Willie's childhood like.
What was my childhood like? Man, that's such a deep question. How much time you got? Well, my childhood was pretty rough. Growing up, my first memory of my biological father, I was 3, and he threw one of the red mason bricks through a window, and I sat for hours while the EMT dug glass out of my knee.
Oh.
And then next day it didn't matter because he was drunk. He didn't remember it, so it didn't matter. Then we moved away. My mom moved us from a small town in Florida to a small town in Missouri. And life was good for a little bit. We lived with my aunt until my mom got her own place. Somewhere along the way, my mom met my stepdad. um, between moving before we left Florida, and he moved up here with us, and then uh, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Hold up one second. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. Give me just a second.
It's okay. So the joy of parenting is the fact that, there are sometimes whenever you're doing stuff, kids like to interrupt. And so, since I don't do a lot of editing on this show, I'll just talk. So I was literally just a guest on his show, and his show is about how music helps, and so I was able to talk about one of the other things that I really enjoy, which is music. And we don't really talk about music on here a lot. We delve into people's stories, and people's stories. Uh, Music is a big soundtrack of our lives. You think back to a lot of the different stories and stuff like that people have, and it's just one of those things where a certain song can reflect on this, and that's what like we were talking about on his show. And you know on his show we were talking about one of the joys of being a dad. And like me and him, we don't do a lot of editing, so like these parent moments happen. And so instead of having dead air or just restarting, I'm just going to ramble and I'm going to talk because this is my show and this is what I do. So
Sorry about that.
it happens, man. I was just over here rambling, talking to your
I know. I heard you.
talking to
That's the
your
great thing
posters.
about having the studio. I'm in the living room, but with my podcast studio because I'm actually on the school for Full Sail for audio production. I can hear. So anyway, back to what I was saying. My stepdad's commercial fisherman. So he's done a lot. We moved to Louisiana in hopes of my mom and stepdad being able to figure out what was going on between the two of them. While we were there, from the age of 7 to the age of 9.5, I was messed with by my older cousin. So it dealt with a lot of issues. Started wetting the bed because in my head at the moment, if I peed the bed, nobody would want to climb with me in bed with me at night. Not a very good defense mechanism, just to be honest. But 9 years old, it made sense.
Yeah, I get
And then we went through therapy. It came out. I finally got the courage to come out, and we, my stepdad made us stop, or made me stop, and told my mom that men don't need therapy, so we had to stop. Shortly after that, we moved back to Missouri, uh, and that's when it all got worse. My stepdad was still gone a lot, but when he was home, I'd get the snot beat out of me for stupid things. Um, and I was never allowed to get the help I needed from dealing with that stuff, so it caused more issues because I'm wetting the bed and then getting the snot beat out of me and put through a wall of a trailer. I mean,
that.
so my childhood, to answer, was pretty rough. Then at the age of 14, my between 13 and 14, my biological father started coming around, and he was actually changed. He still drank. He didn't do as hard at his drugs as he used to do. And it just was a shift for him. And he talked about moving up to Missouri from Florida so he could be closer to his kids, and all of his kids were excited about it. And on September 4th of 2004, my dad, at 14 years old, I watched my dad take his last breath.
Oh.
So at that point, I'd already been drinking, and I was 10 years old drinking what I probably could outdrink some adults. And that's just being real, because I had such a high tolerance. For one, it runs in my bloodline. And for two, I drank so much. And then I started, thank goodness I never got hooked on any other things, because I tried, everything you could think of. I probably have had it. And I've tried it multiple times just to see if I did, just with a one-time thing that I didn't like it. So it wasn't like a one and done. But I was never hooked. And then that's pretty much, I got involved in basketball or in grade school. That was my first real experience with a coach, and real disciplining. And I'm not meaning beat the snot out of you disciplining. I mean, genuinely, your actions had consequences. If you were late to class, you ran. If you failed the test, you ran. I mean, it was genuine discipline. It wasn't just out of anger. But it was a coach, and to this day, I still talk to him. And his name's Coach Swafford. He is an amazing man. And growing up, I would purposely act out in school, because I knew if I act out in school, I'd have to run it after practice. So in my head, I act out, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. I knew there was consequences, but that meant it was literally 2.5 hours longer before I had to go home after school. So messed up as it is. And then that was from 6th grade to 8th grade. And then in high school, I found football even more disciplining, because after my dad died, I was an angry kid. I mean, I put a kid's head through the window of a school bus, all because he called me an orphan because my mom was sick in the hospital and my dad had just died. Went through anger management. My mom managed to, from the hospital, she was in the hospital when all this happened. On Monday, she had happened to get out. I didn't know she was going to get out, or that day she got out. I don't remember. And we had to have a meeting with the principal the next day. And I come home, and I was just going to tell my big sister, because she was the one helping take care of us. And I was like, I knew my sister would. I knew my sister would just kind of sweep it underneath the rug. And didn't work. Got home, my mom was there. I was glad my mom was home.
I want to say hi.
No.
Too.
Here.
Huh?
Here.
Huh? But.
But my mom was home, and I was glad she was home. But at the same time, I felt like crap, because my mom literally just got out of the hospital, and now she has to deal with my bull crap. Well, she talked the school into just suspending me, not expelling me, because they wanted to expel me from school. And I agreed. I didn't care. I was going to do whatever my mom wanted me to do because I never wanted to upset my mom.
Right.
And went through court order anger management. Part of that, I had to get involved in a sport. And not to sound mean, but I was too big to run on the basketball court at this point. Basketball wasn't going to cut it. Okay. Just being real. And so I chose football. I've always loved football. I love watching it. And that was probably one of the best things I could have did for me as a young man, because the coach I had, another man that I had him first 2 years of high school, and he was rough. And him and my mom would communicate. If I acted out to my mom, I'd have to run at practice. And then I found along the way, I found church. I went to got a scholarship to SBU over in Bolivar, and I dropped out. My mom got sick, life got overwhelming, and I dropped out. And that's pretty much my childhood.
So as you're going through all that, and your dad unfortunately passing away, and your stepdad being gone, a lot, and you're essentially being raised by your older sister. Mentally, you have to be struggling.
Oh, I was a mess. I mean, mentally, nothing made sense up here.
How close were you around that particular time to taking yourself out?
Oh, I tried multiple times.
Well,
My
as,
best friend.
before I'll let you finish real quick, but as somebody that has failed multiple times myself, on this show, when someone tells me that they failed multiple times, I'm going to say this. I'm glad you're a failure.
Absolutely. And I didn't mean I failed. I meant I failed at it. I meant that I didn't succeed, and it's a good thing. That's what I meant by saying that.
No, yeah, you're
Okay, but
being a failure at anything or sucking at anything, ending your life is a thing to suck at.
oh,
So,
absolutely. First time, my best friend, I had went over to his house, and his mom was essentially like my mom. Essentially, his mom was like my second mom. Um, and I went into a garage, grabbed an extension cord, and from the hanger of the garage door, I tried to. You get the picture.
yeah,
He caught me. Um, didn't tell my mom, didn't tell anybody, and he told his mom, and she promised me she wouldn't tell my mom if I did weekly check-ins with her. So I did. Um, Now my mom was gone a lot as well, but not because my mom didn't care. My mom had her own health problems going on, but she also had my oldest brother. He had a lot of health problems with his liver and stuff, or not liver, his lungs and stuff. So he was always getting pneumonia and really sick. But when you're going through all that, you're like, man, I wish I mattered. Me finding God at that point was one of the best things I could do.
yeah, absolutely. So when we'll fast forward a little bit, you're out of school, you're thrown into life. What's life like for you?
Oh, life after high school was horrible. Um, a girl I used to hang out with from high school. She moved away while we were in high school. You know, young kids doing what young kids do. We had pregnancy scares. Um, but uh, I dropped out of college. House caught fire. Mom in the hospital. My sister was with a not so good man that she had a kid with. All this stuff weighing on my. I lacked motivation. So for a long time, I told everybody I dropped out to take care of my mom, which I did help my mom, but it was just because I lacked motivation and I didn't care. And it wasn't until I met a girl, started changing, and not in a bad way, starting to improve on my character and who I was. And we broke up. She come back around. I mean, we still talked. It wasn't like she just quit talking to me. And when she came back, she was very open with me. She told me she was pregnant. It could be my kid. She don't think it is, but it could be. I moved up to Springfield, Missouri. Hated every minute of it.
It's fair.
You take someone from a small town that has 399 people and move them to an apartment in Springfield where you can literally hear the train right out your back door.
Mm.
Horrible. Horrible. I was miserable. But I was happy. And then that relationship started having issues because, well, you attract the type of people you're raised around. And we broke things off. Actually, I started truck driving because I lost my job and I was like, I need something that's going to be steady income. She says, okay, as long as you promise to come home, blah, blah, blah. And I agreed. Long story short, she left me while I was truck driving. I come home and broke me. I went 5 months after that without going home.
Mm.
And I got to a point where I needed to stop because I was having thoughts of suicidal thoughts again. Man, how fast would if I drove this semi into oncoming traffic?
Yeah, I can just imagine like that kind of anger, that kind of pain being such a such a driving force for you to be able to want to go into that whole mindset. It had to be rough.
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, and then around that time, I was still broken, and I met up with my ex-wife. She was actually the girl I had hung out with in high school. Met up hours away at a truck stop up near Boonville, and she was seeing somebody, but we connected so well. I'm not proud of what I'm getting ready to say, but I had to quit driving because I become the other man,
Mm.
and it broke me. It's a lot of what I see my stepdad do and my mom do, the cheating back and forth, and not making excuses. It was my choice, and so I quit drunk driving. I told my dispatcher I was done. They got me a load up to Salt Lake City, Utah. Dropped my truck off up in the yard and caught a 2-day trip from Salt Lake City, Utah back to Missouri. And then I was just there. I mean, and by the time I finally got my mojo again, she reached out to me and told me that, which we stayed in contact. I mean, it wasn't like, but I made sure it stayed on a friend level.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And years later, she probably about 2 years later, she got up with me, called me out of the blue. I was on my way home from my men's group, and she says, I need a place to go. I gotta get me and my girls out of here, or me and my kids out of here. Her ex-husband had just abused the kids. I said,
Mm.
okay, okay. I said, I was living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath trailer. I was one person. I could live in it. I could live in one part of the trailer, and her kids could have the other part. That's what I told
Yeah.
myself. And everybody told me, no, 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 that because I was very into religion at that point. And everybody's like, no, that's going to hinder your walk. I'm like, no, it won't. I'll be all right. Got with someone that was very unequally yoked and living like we were married.
Mm.
And then we went years. She was raised to where baby fixes problems. And shortly after she moved in, we got together. And then I found out she was pregnant. And she had had 3 kids when we got together. So it was like, here it is. I'm a single man. And not only do I have to adapt to being a dad of 3, now I have to know another one's on the way. So it overwhelmed me. So then I started sneaking my drinks again while working a full-time job. Um, Job didn't suffer, the home life did. And then the following year, September of the following year, my oldest son, well, my oldest biological son was born and spent 15 days up in Springfield in the NICU unit. Died multiple times, and I told God, I was like, all right, God, here's how it's going to be. Um, you bring my family through this, I'll get my family back in church. He did, and I did for a long time. And then our other son was born, and 2 weeks after he was born, I think it was like 2016. Yeah, December 11th of 2016, 2 weeks after he was born, we had a big sturgeon van, and I hit a telephone pole because the brakes went out.
Oh.
Uh, Broke my nose because my head bounced off the steering wheel. I think it was like 5 times, 6 times. I don't remember. Um,
Okay.
and then that spiraled me right into everything. Back into the drinking. I almost killed my kids. I could have been the reason they weren't here no more. And I mean, and we were doing something that wasn't even bad. Thank goodness we weren't going very fast because every year we used to go around Christmas light looking and stuff. And that's what we were doing on that said night. We had went down seen my father-in-law, and we were coming back looking at Christmas lights, stopping at the house to let the kids look. I had just got up to like 25 to 35 miles an hour, not very fast, and went and tried to stop at a stop sign, and the brakes went out. But I hated myself. Um, that was started. My memory loss was there, and then that become. I didn't remember anyway, so it's okay if I drank because I didn't remember. And then fast forward a few years, let me go back just a second. We found a church we were going to at the time, pulled together and with a local men's group and raised money to buy us a vehicle because our van was totaled. And so the following Monday, they met on Monday nights. Then I'm going to go just to show my support and say thank you. So it was December 26th of 2016. I went to my first men's group and I got hooked instantly. It was a religious base. I loved it. Family oriented. I loved it. Went from 2016, 2017, after I went to my first men's encounter that I mentioned earlier. God laid it on my heart and needed to marry her because weren't living right. We got married and life was good for a little bit. And fast forward, she basically there's a lot of cheating on and off through that whole marriage. It really was. She's very narcissistic, and she would tell me I couldn't find anyone better than her, blah, blah, blah. So I took it as a challenge to find somebody. Don't make it right. And then some of it was she was cheating on me, so I was going to cheat to get even. Horrible idea. Leads up to miserable. Well, in April of 2019, I was working at a nursing home. Woke up the next day after getting home, working all night, coming home. My oldest boy, which is her youngest from her previous marriage, woke up with a handprint on his face. I woke up to him having a handprint on his face. And he bragged to me, "Daddy, look, I'm just like you. I have a battle star from mommy, too." I wish I could say that's what changed everything, but it wasn't. Um, we DFS had come in and investigated because there was a fight the day prior between her and somebody, my ex-wife and someone else, and it happened in front of the kids, so it was a hotline. And when she got there, she saw the handprint. He told the caseworker that mommy did it, and then so she left him inside with her, which isn't how it should have happened. And when the cops got there, he said I did it.
Yeah. Of course, that's how that one happened.
But then it went to
Watching this when I was
okay, Paw Patrol's right there. Okay, just go.
Yeah, geez, Dad. That's not Paw Patrol. Oh, kids. They're great. I just so far into this story, this is working to be exactly the way that I was thinking this was going.
But no, then it went to
Papa John.
remember Daddy's doing a podcast. All right, I love you, but you need to stop. I'm not gonna put Paw Patrol on. It's an ad. You gotta wait 5 seconds. But I hated myself because I couldn't protect my son. And the deputy had promised me that if I said I did it, my family could stay together. I already had felt guilty about it, and I'd already felt guilty about all of it. And
yeah, the guilt. I get it. It had to be extremely difficult to be presented with that kind of situation.
so never in trouble in my life except for a minor seatbelt ticket. Or speeding ticket, because I did have a lead foot back in the day. Here. Don't even say that. But I spent 14 days in jail for something I didn't do. Got a public defender. He got me off because they had a confession, pretty much a forced confession by me, because they promised me certain things that they couldn't promise. So for one, they got me off because of that, and two, they didn't do no hand comparisons. I got big hands. I mean, I got mittens, and a 4-year-old boy, my hand would have went off his face.
Yeah.
And so I got off on them grounds. And then All right, Cheyenne, you need to stop. But I got off on them grounds, and I got out, and she was telling me everything I wanted to hear, that we were good, everything was going to be okay when I got out. And meanwhile, that wasn't the case. Here. It's okay. Watch that or get nothing. Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's fine. It's I just listening to this story, and you want to immediately just be like, "Am I in a Lifetime movie?"
You know, I've been told that, but I don't want people to listen to my story and be like, man, I feel for him, because it's made me who I am today. Like, um, not, this is why I said when we talked, I'm a survivor. Because some of my own conflict, not own conflict, own choices put me in my situation, especially as an adult. And from 2019 to 2022, I tried so hard to get my kids back. The state stepped in, removed them. My ex-wife would do just enough to get by. And well, we lost them. In May, and either April or May of 22, the state stepped in. My family legally adopted my kids. Shook me. However, June of that same year, I found out a secret my wife had been keeping for apparently a couple months because she was pregnant and due in September. So she would keep secret a hot minute. So I found out I was going to be a dad again. So I cut back on my drinking. I was trying to be a better me. Things were good for a little bit. Cheating came back in the picture, and it was just horrible. And then July 23rd of 23, my ex-wife left for the last time. She had been drinking. I didn't let her take the baby because she'd been drinking. And in fact, I found out she was cheating, and I wanted to put an end to it. And so learning from my past mistakes, it was on a Sunday, and we did Sunday dinners. And I asked my mom, because she was getting ready to leave, I said, "Hey, Mom, I need to confront my ex-wife about something. Will you take her for the night, please?" Talking about my daughter. She's like, "Yeah, yeah." So she took my daughter, and I went inside to go confront my ex-wife. With people in the house, with witnesses. I walk up to her and I said, if you're cheating, I know the fact that you are. Just admit to it, and we can work through it. I'm over the cheating back and forth. Let's just be happy. And she said, "Forget this. I'm out, blah, blah, blah." And I went to go reach for the phone, and I'm like, "If you're not cheating, just let me see your phone." And all I did was do like this with my hand out. And she's standing pretty close in front of me, and she threw herself on the floor. Hollered, "Ouch," I hit her. Meanwhile, I have a witness to the whole situation. And we were living with my aunt at the time, and she come over there. "We ain't doing that. If you're going to do that, you can get out of my house." Not as nice as I just said it, though.
I can imagine.
So she left that night. I kept our daughter. I've worked my butt off the last 3 years almost to be the best dad, the best me I can be. And, my why, and we talked about this on my show with you, is my why is I want to be the best me I can. And used to it was for my wife, for my kids, for this, for that. No, my why is I want to be the best me I can because I deserve that.
Absolutely. I always tell everyone that, like, I love my kids, and they helped they helped save me whenever I didn't realize that I needed to be saved. That being said, at the end of the day, there's gonna come a time whenever, they're gonna be out of the house, and I won't see them that much. I have to be happy with who I am. I have to, Michael Jackson here. I got to look at the man in the mirror. If I don't like who that guy is, then something's got to change. Something's got to give.
No, absolutely. And at the point when I come out of my marriage, I did not like who I was. I was so broken. I mean, August of that same year, and this is how I got reconnected in the church group I go to. I dropped my daughter off at my mom's, and I was going for a drive that I wasn't coming back from. And I had went on to one of these groups at a different city years prior, and the guy that I saw was one of the guys that used to go over there that now goes at this different location. And I saw him, and it drew me in. So I pulled in, broken, felt unloved, and from that moment, I think in 3 years almost, I may have missed 2 or 3 meetings. And it's just because I chose to surround myself in people, and this is where people don't understand. You got to surround yourself around positive influences.
Oh yes,
Whether
absolutely.
you're religious or not. For me, I like the religious group of people because it's what I believe in. But whether you're religious or not, you've got to find that group of people that wholeheartedly are going to hold you accountable, and that because you don't want to be like, if you're like me, I don't want someone to sugarcoat something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it'll be okay, blah 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 blah. You okay? No. Well, hey, you did something stupid. What'd you learn from this? I'd rather you be upfront and honest with me, and that's what I found. And I found men that you know, will literally, when I was trying to quit drinking, I could call them at 2 o'clock in the morning because I felt alone and afraid, and I was falling back in the old traps. Wanted to fall back in the old traps. I could call them and say, "Hey, I'm struggling right now. I really need you to talk me off the cliff." I've had guys that would sit on the phone with me for hours. So, that's the reason why I do what I do, is I want people to know that no matter at the end of the day, they're not alone in what they're going through. There's someone that's had a life just as bad as you have, or worse than you have, or dealt with the same thing. Or there are people who have gone, and this is what I love now that I'm out of it and I'm not hurting as bad as I was. I've been able to pour into other people that are going through what I went through prior. And that's, to me, I love that full circle of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of doing what you do, let's talk about you. You host a podcast of your own. Um, Tell us about your show.
Well, I host a podcast. I host a podcast. I promise I can talk better than this normally.
Words are hard, man. Words are hard.
I've actually said stuff on this episode that I've ever talked about. So I'm a little teary eyed over here.
If it helps, man, that's the reputation of this show. I bring the tears.
Oh, so you're saying it's your fault I'm crying? No.
You're damn right it's my fault, man. It's
But
my
no,
goal to get almost every guest to get a little weepy.
but I host a podcast called Soul Impact. Our music saved us. And on my show, originally I created it for artists to tell their story about how writing their music has helped them. But recently I have branched out to creators. authors, whatever it is, because everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from someone that obviously has had a pretty messed up story, if I can get through what I've gone through, so can you. I mean, so can anyone else. I mean, and I started my show June of last year, and I honestly, I've helped people, and I don't doubt that, but I've healed along the way too. I mean, and I said this on mine, and I will say it again. You're never too broken to rebuild.
Absolutely. Amen.
And that's where I got to when my marriage was over. I was broken, but sometimes bringing my faith into it, being broken is where God wants us.
Yeah.
Because then he can mold us into what he needs us to be, what he desires us to be. And
Yes.
as men, our job is to be spiritual leaders. And we lead positively or negatively. We're leading our family. You can say hi when we're done. I don't know how he feels about having kids on his podcast.
I'm cool with it as long as the parent is fine with it.
Okay. Okay, say hi and then you gotta go. Sure, tell him your name too.
Hi.
Thornton.
Your name's Cheyenne Thornton, that's right.
Well, you are a very pretty young lady.
Can you tell him thank you?
Thank you.
All right, you said hi. Now I need you to go so I can finish, okay? Give me kisses.
No, hi. Wait, hi.
Hi.
Who are you?
Who are
Where
you?
am I?
No, who are you?
Who
Oh.
are you?
His name is Shannon.
Shannon.
Yes.
Green Sean.
He does
I
have a green
do
shirt.
have
That's
green
Cody's
shirt.
favorite color, ain't it?
That one's disgusting.
Quit. No, you're gonna. I know why you want up here. If you go, you can play my keyboard when you're done. When we're done,
You plug it in?
I will plug it in, but you gotta go right now. All right, go. Love you.
Nice to meet you.
He said, "Nice to meet you." Can you tell him thank you? Say, "Nice to meet you too." Oh, I love you.
I will
Right.
always accept a good father-daughter hug on the show.
Absolutely, it's about that. I mean, I want
Bye.
people to know that no matter where you're at, they come first.
Oh God, yes.
I work in the midst of losing my kids. I work 75 hours a week.
Mm.
I see your balloon. Okay, I feel your balloon. Yes, it's so crunchy.
I'm keeping all this in, by the way.
You made me laugh. She made me cry. She made me laugh. So it works.
It's balance here, man. We telepathically are working hand in hand to get you highs and lows, like bipolar.
Right. If you can't laugh by watching this episode, then you need to reevaluate yourself. No.
I'm telling you, every dad that is watching this episode, or how probably some of the moms too, they're gonna watch this episode and they're gonna be like, "I get this. I get this. This is like watching my life right now."
And especially as a single parent, I tell you, that's a hard one. You know how hard it is to manage a business, work a job,
Yeah, it is
and
tough. It
manage
is rough.
and manage a 3-year-old.
I remember when my kids were 3. I don't miss it.
Now listen, up until Christmas of last year, I did all that plus remodeled the house we're living in.
Oh, so you're crazy and slightly stupid.
I wouldn't say slightly stupid. I would say a whole lot stupid sometimes. Okay, but it's all about and what I've had to learn is not everybody's gonna like me. Not everybody's gonna like Wild Willie. growing up, I had that nickname because I drank and I was wild and I was the life of the party. It wasn't until maybe last year that I started using Wild Willie again, and that was because I had a hard time separating the two people out.
You were rebranding yourself. That's what you're doing. Is you're taking some like a part of your past that that had a negative connotation, that black cloud, that anchor, and you're like, no, I'm going to take that. I'm going to mold it. I'm going to shape it into who it really is, who it really is, who it really represents. I'm changing the game.
Oh,
That's what you're doing.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, because one of my favorite things a preacher told me, it's not really religious at all, but it's really good advice. Um, a windshield is bigger than a rearview mirror. It's more important about where you're going than where you've been. Not
Absolutely.
religious at all, but it makes a whole lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
And I tell people the same thing. I love analogies. I do. One of my favorite ones I say, and I don't know where I got it from, but when people tell me mental health is not a real illness or a real problem, it's in your head, kind of speak. Um, I said, well, my phone's over there. When they tell me it's not a real illness, I said, okay, let me ask you this. You look at a car, and the car looks great on the inside. But when you get in the car and you go to drive and you're losing power, getting power, there's something wrong with that engine. So is that in that car's head too?
True. True.
Oh,
That
I mean,
that's the thing about mental health is, you know, the longer I've done the show and the more people that I've talked to, is that for so many years it was such a negative thing. You know, it was always looked down upon. You know, like especially with us men. You know, like we weren't. You know, you're not supposed to get therapy. You're not supposed to feel sad. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to do this. It was exhausting, and it's no wonder why there's so many of us men that are either taking our own lives, having substance abuse problems, having, you know, anger issues, is because we were told to bottle everything up
oh,
and then
absolutely.
then people were expecting us to just never let it, you know, like never let it go. And then when we do, we're the monsters.
Oh, yeah. And people often, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard shove it down. Here's another analogy. I told you I like analogies. Think of a trash can. You start pushing that trash in, and we've all been there, been the kid that didn't want to take the trash out, so you shoved more down in that trash can. Eventually, that trash can is not going to hold any more trash. So it's going to kind of start overflowing. And then you're going to kick that trash, and that trash is going to get on somebody else. And that's exactly what happens when you don't deal with what you're going through.
Yeah, it's exactly what happens.
I mean, and that's why mental health is so important to me. I don't know if you can see it, and we talked a little bit earlier, but I've teamed up with this organization called Operation Combating Veteran Suicide, and they deal with that. Um, I've had her on my show talking about what music does for mental health. Her name's Charlotte Group. Her and her husband co-founded the nonprofit. They're an amazing group of people, and to see like-minded people, and that's what I love about the podcast world, is that it has opened my eyes to how many people out there really care.
Oh yeah.
But there's not a lot of resources that people know about that can help. I mean, and that's why with my show, I want people to know whether you're at the end of your rope or you're overwhelmed or life is just kicking the snot out of you. There's always hope. There's always a way up. You know, And people that are grieving, I feel for people that are grieving. I have never lost a significant other. I couldn't imagine going through that. But that doesn't mean the loss I've dealt with is any different.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
have their pain one way or another. And nothing drives me crazier than when someone says, you don't know what I'm going through because my pain's worse than what you've ever gone through because you didn't go through X, Y, and Z. First off, quit comparing your pain to other people
Absolutely.
because you are not them, they are not you. And that, at the end of the day, your mental health is your mental health. Are you taking care of your mental health?
Oh yeah. I've often said that the worst thing that you can do is try to compare each other's personal tragedies, your trauma, pain, whatever it is, because you can't. Your pain is different than my pain, but your how you dealt with it and how I dealt with mine, while they could be different, they could very much. There's always some similarities, but it makes it no more or less smaller or bigger than what I went through. What I went through, I wouldn't want to put on anybody in the world. What you went through, I wouldn't want anyone in the world to have either. And I think
Oh,
we
me
should all
neither.
just have that common decency to think, okay, I don't care if it was something, even if it was something small. Like when if someone that I work with, says like, hey, like this happened to me, and like it really just like affected me, and in my eyes, it could be something really small, but it clearly is affecting them in a much more personal, deeper manner, and I'm not going to dismiss that because once you dismiss it, then you're just telling that person shove it down.
Or their feelings don't matter.
Yeah, and that's
Your
bullshit.
feelings don't matter. You didn't go through this. You know what? You're right. And I'll use you as an example. You're right. I did not go through losing a significant other. I could not imagine going through that. But you didn't go through what I went through. It doesn't mean that we're different. It doesn't mean what you
Oh,
went through is worse than I went through. And that's another thing that drives me absolutely up the wall is when you get people, and we talked about this on my show, where, so I'm going to say it again for your listeners. You need to quit being a victim and become the survivor you are. Because so many people get caught up in the victims. And then it becomes who the biggest victim. Because I went through X. Okay, you need to stop, please. You're screaming. Um, Everybody goes through their own struggles. I mean, quit comparing victims. And, me and you could have an endless debate, and I won't do it, but we could, about which one of us is a bigger victim. We
right.
both would have genuine arguments on why we felt we were the bigger victim. But at the end of the day, when that conversation is over, or that debate is over, you're not going to feel any better about yourself, and I'm not going to feel any better in myself. So, what's the point?
Right.
When you play the victim card, and there are true victims, and I've been a victim,
Yeah.
but go through the help you need to get over that victim, that tragedy. Become a survivor of it, because then your identity changes. Because once you no longer, because the thing about being a victim is when you're a victim, that has a hold on your life. Because when you're a victim of, use my child abuse, okay? I can live in my child abuse trauma. But if I take and I knock that out of the way and become a survivor, look how many people I'm going to be able to help because I kicked that trauma, that victim society thought out of my mind.
Absolutely.
And we all need to get back to society. When I say we all need to get back to it, back to helping each other out. You know what? Shannon, I see you're down. Let me help you up. Or vice versa. Willie, you're down today. How can I help you?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, Shannon, you're down. Let me give you another couple more good cakes.
Right. Yeah.
Or, okay, Shannon's down and he's having a hard time. Hey, I'm doing really good. At least I'm not like Shannon over there.
Exactly.
You know what? Grow up. It's time us as society grows up and starts pulling together. You know what? You don't like something that's going on in your community and you think you can help, step up and help. Don't sit back and gripe about the problem either. Because there's a whole lot of things that we do as a community, and I mean a community, anyone you're involved in, we could do that would help each other out that we don't do just because no one else is doing anything about it. And that's why I know there's a whole lot of podcasts out there about mental health. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not seen a whole lot that put their twist on it that mine has. Because everybody relates to music.
Yeah.
And I want people to know, you know what? My life sucked. But there's hope. I can find, even if you're not religious, I can find hope in the songs I listen to.
That is amazing. And so tell everyone where they can find your show.
I'm all over the place. I'm on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. I'm on Amazon. YouTube. If you search soul, everything else you can search. Everything else you can search Soul Impact. How music saved us. I love you too, baby. But with YouTube, I'm on a network. I'm on the Scene Project Network. So with that, you will have to type in the Scene Projects / Soul Impact because I have a podcast on their network and it all goes to their YouTube. But I do have my own YouTube, but it's mainly where my short reels go and stuff like that. But so if you want to watch the full length videos, you have to go there. I have episodes come out every Tuesday. I just use genuineness to it, and at the end of the day, I believe wholeheartedly what you do. If I can help one person, it's worth it. Who at the end, and be honest, who doesn't want to make money? I love you too. And at the end of the day, who doesn't want to make money doing what they love?
Exactly.
But that's not the reason I do what I do.
Well, there's that old saying, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. That's how I feel about the show. I love doing this stuff. Yes, it is sometimes hard to hear other people's stories and everything that they've gone through, but I also get to hear the good things. I get to hear the rise back up. I get to hear like the things that they're passionate about. I get to hear like the funny little things, like your daughter in the background, or like a friends with their significant other who's a giant smartass that likes to like chime in every now and then to like to call her out on her bullshit. I love that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, it's it's about telling their stories instead of hearing about celebrities and their billion-dollar bullshit all the time. I like to hear about from real people because real people have better stories.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many of them celebrities are putting up a facade?
Oh, I'm sure like
I'm just saying, and people
98%
don't
of them.
often think about that. And that's another reason why I do what I do. It's just I want people to know, okay, I don't know, okay, there's something scary at the house. Watch a different video then. But I want people to know, my goal is on mine, I would like to get the well-known artists on there because, and that's where I'm shooting. I'm shooting for the stars. You get it? I sent Trace Atkins' booking agent a message about getting him on my podcast. Is it ever going to happen? I hope one day. I'm a huge Trace Atkins fan. But I want people to know, no matter if you're a small-time podcaster or a big-time podcaster or a small-time actor, whoever you are, that we all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. As much as I would like someone to just stretch my pants out and let me do like my toddler does and jump into my pants, I'm pretty sure I would face plant if that happened.
It's fair. It's fair.
But just being real is I want the realness that it has, and like with your show, I've enjoyed this. I really have. And I love being able to offer knowledge and, experience but people got to be careful when they do. Don't do it in a condescending way. And that's where, like with me, because I run sound professionally for bands, and there's people that come up and they're like, you need to change X, Y, and Z because it sounds freaking horrible. But if someone comes up, I'm not going to do anything about that. I can tell you now, I tell them, get out of my face. I'll be honest. Versus someone telling, hey, you're doing a really good job, but especially when I was first starting out, you're doing a really good job, but if you tweak it here a little bit, it'll pull some of that feedback back or whatever was going on. It's on how we come to somebody. If we come to somebody with love, whether you know them or not, it is proven that people are going to be more acceptable to take it. Now, I think everybody deserves the help. I do. But depends on what level it is, depends on what kind of help I give. And what I mean by that, I was a truck driver for 2 years. I have a hard time giving panhandlers money because I've seen panhandlers at truck stops go down 2 exits and get in a nicer car than I drive when I'm working my butt off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now my help when I see someone, and if I have the means, I don't always have the means being a single parent, but if I have the means, I was like, oh, I need food or whatever their sign might say. I said, well, let me go. What kind of food do you like? Let me go get you something. Because I don't want to be the reason someone don't get to eat tonight. But at the same time, I don't want to be the reason that enables someone's addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
Because I don't know the situation on why that person's homeless. I don't know if that person really is homeless. So that's why sometimes the best you can do is offer them something to eat. Show them love. When I was truck driving, I've been known to give truckers or people my shower tokens so they could go in and shower. Because love like that isn't shown. At least for me, it wasn't. So as an adult, I want to make sure anyone I come in contact with sees the light in this very, 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 very dark world we live in. And
yes,
sometimes the only way that is by showing love. I could not like you and I use my ex-wife as an example. Sometimes I can't stand her. But when I'm with her, like, because the supervised visit, not like with her, but supervised visit, I'm not going to be hateful for her. She's still the mother of my kids. She's still my daughter's mom. I'm going to show love. I bought presents for my daughter to give to her. And I don't say that to give myself a pat on the back. I say that it's really done up a point where, especially if you're doing whatever you're doing, you're going to have to show love. And, music is that for me. Music is my love language. I've said this, and I stand firm on that. You know,
And, and I completely agree with all that. So as we're winding down, I've got one final question. I told you before we started recording. Other than your daughter, well, other than your children being born, what do you most appreciate about life?
depends on which way you want me to go with that question.
Go either way you want to go.
Because I enjoy lots of things in life. I enjoy, in the first time in a long time, I can say what I'm getting ready to say. I enjoy just being me. Don't have to put on a facade that I'm okay. You know, I don't have to worry about hiding that I'm in a struggling marriage. I enjoy being me and I enjoy being happy. Um, enjoy the time I get with my kids. Mm, I enjoy my podcasting. I enjoy the fact that I'm getting a chance to help people and be genuine. My business, I use my business, Backwoods Productions, to give back to the community. I've done it every year since I've had my business. I enjoy that kind of stuff because, like I said, if you can't take care of the littles, your community. Hey, about this one. I don't know what you were watching, baby. It turned off. But just go find something new, sweetheart. But okay, then find it again, baby. It wasn't on there when you brought me the phone. But moments like that, being intentional. And you told me you ain't gonna edit that. I love that. I don't edit my podcast either because I want people to know, hey, you need to calm down. The yelling dang it isn't how you get help. How do you ask?
Please help me
Okay.
find the way we want.
But moments like that are what I cherish now. I mean, used to overwhelm me, and now it's like, you know what? She's a blessing.
She is.
She makes my hair great, but she's a blessing.
I get that. All right. So one of the last things that I do on the show is after talking and hearing somebody's story is I like to end on a positive note. You are a great father, and everything that you've gone through, I couldn't imagine having to deal with any of that. And while in the 2 hours that a little over 2 hours that we've had conversations, I just got to say I like to think that I learn from everybody, and I learned a lot from you. Not just being able to appreciate being like the little things anymore, but perspective, the use of music in your everyday soundtrack of life. It's inspiring, and I think you honestly are one of the most genuine people that I've ever met, and I'm proud of you for realizing where you were and not wanting to be there anymore and changing everything. You're doing a great job, and I don't ever want you to ever think that you're not. So congratulations on the success that you have. And I'm not talking about just your job or anything like that, but that right there.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
is success.
She's the reason that I do what I do. Like, not the only reason, but one of the reasons. She's the reason that I push so hard with my podcast, is because I want to help her generation. Because I know there's going to be kids out there that are going to have just as much headaches as I do. I could potentially.
I turn this one down.
No, that one's fine. There's just as much, or possibly.
This one's trying to turn it down.
Cheyenne, can you please stop?
This one's trying.
Hey, I'm trying to finish. But there's just as many, or possibly even change their life by the dad seeing these and be like, hey, I can relate to what he's saying. It's time I get help.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and me pushing so hard, has been the reason that, I ain't got to tell you this yet, and it's all over my Facebook, but
Dad, watch.
I see. The reason I've been nominated for a podcast award, only doing it less than a year.
Dad, watch.
Congratulations, man.
It's the reason that oh, my marshmallow, that's right. Thank you for not saying the other word. But the reason I do what I do is because I want people to know that
Oh, my gosh.
these are the kids, not these kids are the greatest blessing.
And the marshmallows are the good thing.
Marshmallows are good things.
Marshmallows are a good thing, dear.
All right, go get your socks and shoes on so we get ready to go, okay?
No.
Yep. Go get your socks and shoes on. Can you tell Shannon bye?
Bye, Shani.
Bye.
No, don't be rude. You tell him sorry, that wasn't nice. All right. But end of the day, you gotta be genuine.
Sorry. I'm
We're
teary.
working
I'm
on not
just
calling names, I
laughing.
promise. No, listen. I parent a little different than most people. And she got called weird the other day. And I was like, look at him and say, being weird isn't a bad thing, because if normal, I'd be like the rest of y'all. So now she don't care if you call her normal. Or weird. She'd be like, Daddy, am I your little weirdo? I'm like, yes, you are.
Yes, I try to teach my kids that every day, that there's nothing wrong with being called weird.
Yeah.
Weird is great. Weird is my bread and butter.
That's right.
I have collected a society of weirdos as family, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So, but
Sure.
all right, so we're gonna go. We're gonna. She clearly has things that she wants to do, and but no, anyway. So thanks again, Willie. I appreciate you coming on the show. It was a
Thanks for
pleasure
having me.
getting to know you. Getting to hear your story. It was nice to meet you too, young lady.
Shannon said it's nice to meet you. Can you say nice to meet you too?
You're very welcome. Thanks
Daddy.
for letting me in your head, man.
Oh, thank you for being in my head. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, I'll let you know after therapy. All right. Thanks again, man.
What's up, guys? In Your Head with Shannon Standiford is a podcast where Shannon talks to everyday people with everyday problems. Everyone has a story, and every story should be told. So you listen right now to Shannon's podcast on Spotify and many other places, y'all. Come on, man. Be the light. Peace.
She called me a butthead in that episode. A 3-year-old called me a butthead. I haven't been called a butthead in like 10 years. Afterwards, I got called a shiny butthead. So that's new. I think I laughed a little harder than I ever thought I would with the 3-year-old, but I love kids. I had a little tear in my eye. She was an adorable. Anyway, so she's adorable. Anyway, thanks Willie for coming on the show and showing how hard being a single dad is, showing how hard life can be, but refusing to give up. He has that mantra, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. He's proven that he is a survivor, and he's doing a great job, not just with his show, but he's doing a great job in life. And as a dad, I want to thank you for that, because dads are so important and we often get overlooked. So I want to just first and foremost thank you for being a father. So anyway, yeah, so inching closer and closer to 100, and remember, the closer we get, the after our 99th episode, we're gonna take a little bit of a break so I can concentrate on trying to make that 100th the best 100th episode ever. Will it be? Realistically, probably not. but I am looking forward to the 100th episode. I look forward to every episode. I like getting to know people. Talking to Willie for 2 hours, man. Whenever you have a conversation with people and you get along and you mesh well, like I have with most of my guests, like you wanna collaborate more, you wanna talk more, you wanna be there more. So who knows? Hopefully, down the line we're able to work together again. Come together again. So yeah. Anyway, so thanks for listening. So many podcasts out there. You choose to listen to this one, and I appreciate it. Remember, everyone has a story. Every story needs to be told. This story is for the one person that needed this story. So if you're the one, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here.